Good morning. So myself, I am N. Sudheer, Assistant Professor in Data in Department of CSC, Cybersecurity, Data Science, and AIDS. And today, I would like to share my knowledge on database languages in DBMS concept. So before going to the concept of database languages, so we have to know what is the basic idea about the database. So a database is normally a information, which is a collection of organized information or data. It can be stored in a computer, and what it helps to store, manage, and retrieve the data easily. Okay. So normally, if you are talking about the database in environments, so here we are going to organize our data as our wish. So we have to store, we have to manage, and we have to manipulate, or we have to retrieve. So as per our requirement or a client requirement, we want to gather the database here. So as we have seen this example here, a phone contact list on the smartphone, okay, is one of the requirement. So like a simple database, if I'm going to share a phone contact list in your smartphone, as everyone has aware about the smartphones, like, so it is a little database. So just we have to refer what are the contact list in our mobile phones, and what are the phone numbers, and what are the list we are maintaining in the phones. So it is like a similar little database. We have to retrieve that information. So like this basic idea, we are going to derive the information based on the database. Okay. And coming to the concept database language, what it means, it refers to a specific types of commands or instructions used to communicate with the database. So normally, how the database can be react by the user instructions. The If the user wants to give some input instructions, then the database will be react. How these instructions will be given by the user. So these instructions will be in the form of the commands. They have some commands which will be developed by the database language itself in the form of some 4 categories. So in the coming slide, I will going to share you the types of database languages which will have to shown up you commands to retrieve the data easily. Okay, so it helps the users or applications for creating and managing, updating, and retrieving the data from the database. As we have discussed in the previous example, as like the mobile phone or a smartphone, we have to gather an information or collect the information by retrieving the data. Similarly, if you are going to create one application or accessing one application, we want to manage that one, update, and retrieve the data. Okay, and database language is a set of tools that helps to work the data stored in the database. Okay, so let me explain. So what are the database languages are available in the database, and these are the types of database languages in the database DBMS. There are 4 types of categories. So first one is the DDL, which stands for the data definition language, and DCL, data control language, and DML is a data manipulation language, and TCL is a transaction control language. These are the 4 categories which will be helpful for the database in order to help to the users to retrieve or doing some actions to retrieve the data in an appropriate time. So each category of the language is used for different purpose. Okay, see this, the DDL. The DL stands for the data definition language. So this is mainly helpful for to design or to define the data internal structure, okay, or a pattern. Okay, and this mainly useful for this database language will is mainly used for creating the tables by using the commands, and also indexes, constraints, and schema in the database. Okay, and in order to create the databases, or in order to create the indexes, or in order to create the constraints or schemas, whatever these everything will be helpful by using these type of commands. And these commands are, let's see, this one is the create command. So if you want to apply this create command, then internally the internal structure what we have talked about, this one will be maintained by using this create command. And this command will be able to create the internal structure by using some constraints with the help of the schema. like we have, suppose if I want to create one the customer record like employee. So employee is my table I want to create. So in order to create this employee, I want to create one field first, like what is that employee ID I want to require, employee name, like employee details, like salary, everything will be there, etc. So all these data is required to gather in order to create this type of create command. So this is used to create the objects of the database, and this is called as an attributes. We can also call as an objects. And alter, this is the second one of this TDL definition. It is used to change or alter the structure of the database. So right now I have created some objects here, employee ID, employee name, employee salary, like this. So if I want to modify, if I want to alter these type of objects, then the alter command will be helpful. Okay. If I want to delete the objects, if I want to delete the objects from the database itself, then I want to use the drop command or drop syntax we can use. And fourth one is the truncate, and this truncate is used to remove all the records at a time. Okay, and we have to know what is the drop and truncate. A drop is nothing but it is just deleting the objects in the database, but here the physical existence will be there, which means the internal structure, these internal structures will be lies on the database. Whereas the truncate, it removes all the records from the table with the internal structure. There is no more internal structures will be available in the database itself. So that is the differences between the truncate as well as the drop commands. And as we know that the rename command is the fifth one. It is used to rename the object. So sometimes it may be have some due to some appropriate mistakes. So some objects names will be mistakenly happened. So for that time, I want to rename that objects in the database. So that's why the rename command will be helpful to rename the objects in the database itself. Okay. And sometimes I want to give the comments in the form of the descriptions. So for this comment will be used. These comments are useful for the indicating purpose or for identification of the procedure. Okay. So these are the different types of commands which will be helpful to organize the internal structure of the database by using the DDL. And second category is the TCL. That is a data control language. Data control language means easy to retrieve the saved data, what we have previously saved in the form of the tables. That data can be able to retrieve from the database, and some execution based on the transactions rollback parameters will be applicable on this DCL. Okay. And these are some commands. So what are the commands here? The grant command and reward command. These are the two types of commands useful in the DCL. Grant is used to give access to the persons who are the authorized people, who are the authorized persons. Because some database access cannot be operated by a common end user. So it has some restrictions to follow to operate the database by the limited persons. Those persons are called as a authorized persons. So we have to grant this permissions to the particular people. Whereas revoke is nothing but we have to take back the permissions from the particular user or particular end user. So for this security purpose, we are going to use for controlling the purpose we are using the database, that is called as a data control language. And third category is the DML, which stands for the manipulation, data manipulation language. The name itself, it seems that the manipulation will be done. The manipulation means, so unfortunately some data has been mistakenly entered in the form of the objects. I'm not talking about this objects modification, information modification or data modification. This manipulation data will be applicable only on the data modification, not for the object modification. Okay. So it is used to manipulate the data in the database by using some commands. Different commands will be there. Okay. And it also helpful for retrieving purpose, selecting some information, inserting some information, updating the information, deleting, merging, calling and locking the tables. So all these are the manipulation requirement for managing the database in the by using the DML. So select is used to uh, show the data what we have to stored in the table. Okay, so there is some command like select star from employee. So this is the command which will helps to show the entire structure what we have already stored the objects in this particular employee table, and also what is the information behind in this table. Okay, so this is the select command which will be helpful for retrieving the entire information in the table. And insert command, if the information is not sufficient in this table, I want to add some information in this table. How to add? By using the insert command. So insert command we have to use, and adding or updating adding the information into the table. And updating is another command. Use it to update what you have added in the information. So it is used to update the table in the data based on your requirement. Based on your requirement. And next one is the delete command. Unnecessary information or unrequirement information will be deleted by using the delete command. And merging, if I want to combine or if I want to insert some operations or merging some commands, by using this merging will be helpful. And similarly call. So this calling method will be applicable on SQL by using some Java subprograms. SQL is an structured query language which will helps to maintain your data in a sequence way. And lock table is used to identify the and reduce the concurrency, and it can control the concurrency, means repeating the data whatever you are maintaining, that can be controlled by this lock table. Okay. So these are the different types of commands which will be helpful in the DML language in the database. And fourth category is called as a TCL. This is a transaction control language. So they have some commands in this TCL which is used to run the changes whatever the DML has been happened by using the commands. And if these commands are not suitable for this, I want to run on these changes. And this TCL is grouped into some logical transactions, and these transaction control language is mainly helpful for the banking sector. So for they have using some commands like commit and rollback. These are the two types of commands, and this is essential for these sectors. And this commit is used to save the transaction whatever the employee record is there. These employee details will be committed by every fraction of seconds, every minutes of time. So for this, the commit is a command which is used to save the recent transaction onto the database. And these are very helpful in this banking sector. And not only this banking sector, we can also use in airways reservation system, bus ticket reservation system. So all these are the different types of transaction oriented applications will be helpful by this command, which is called as a commit. And whereas rollback is nothing but it is used to restore the database whatever the physical existence in the previous manner. So which means it is a restore of the database in the original state from the last commit. Means, so unfortunately the commit has been wrongly updated. I have committed some wrongly information. That information will be retrieved back by the previous original state. For that time, the rollback command will be helpful. So this command also plays an important role in the banking sector as well as some etc. like airlines, bus ticket reservation system like this. So anyway, so all these are the different types of query languages, which is the database languages, which is providing by different types of commands like DDL, DCL, TCL and DML type of languages, which have some inbuilt commands which will helps to retrieve, modify, create, alter, updating. All these things will be happened by using these commands in the database. Okay, so this is about the today's session. Thank you.